Good afternoon. I'm Mr. Perkins. I'm here to work with you on a practice question from the 2009 AP English Literature. This is a released question that was released on their website. A couple things to know about it. This is an English literature composition question. Students will have 2 hours to complete this. My suggestion as a teacher of AP English is to make sure that you take the time to do the preparation for it. We're going to go over some strategies. One of the very important things right from the beginning is to read the beginning directions. It says, in the following speech from Shakespeare's play Henry VIII, Cardinal Wolsey considers his sudden downfall from his position as an advisor to the king. Spokesmen for the king have just left, and he's now alone on the stage. Your job is to read the speech carefully, then write a well-organized essay in which you analyze how Shakespeare uses elements of figurative language and his tone to convey Wolsey's complex response to his dismissal from the court. Wow, that's a lot of information. Even right then and there, right in the very beginning, before I've even read anything in the piece, I'm going to underline a couple key things. I would underline a thought about this is about his downfall, and he wants to know why. So right on my paper, I'm going to write down words like why, downfall, and he's feeling negative about this. Okay. What I'm going to do for you as well is I'm going to share a strategy that I do on the SAT with a lot of the students that I work with. An excellent strategy is to read the first 5 lines and the last 5 lines. So I will give you an example here, and then we can talk about it a little bit, and then we'll get into your reading strategies. So it begins, so farewell to the little good you bear me. Farewell, a long farewell to all my greatness. This is the state of man. Today he puts forth the tender leaves of hope. Tomorrow it blossoms, and it bears his blushing honor thick upon him. The third day comes a frost, a killing frost. Real powerful language. That's the first 5 lines. Let's look at the last 5 lines. That sweet aspect of princes and their ruin, more pangs and fear than wars or women have. And when he falls like Lucifer, never to hope again. Okay, a couple things to point out over here. You can see from behind me over here, I've written it completely out for us here. A couple points to think about. Your job as a reader and the person who is going to write is to start underlining. So farewell, that's a word I want to underline because it's telling me that this is a negative that's happening to him. And look at this line, a long farewell to all my greatness. What I would tell you on something like that, he's saying a long farewell to greatness. It's a line of irony. So right then and there, I would take a moment and write the word irony right there, because that's going to help me when I get ready to write it. I'm getting some of the focus and the tone that Shakespeare is putting in there. He also tells us in line 6, he says, the third day comes a frost, a killing frost. Powerful, powerful language. He gives us that information because he's trying to emphasize it and get our attention. For us as readers, we have to make sure we underline that. Let's take a look at the last couple lines. He says, the sweet aspect of princes and their ruin. Ruin, once again, another negative line. I'm always getting in the habit of putting a minus or a plus next to the vocabulary. We're going to talk about that a little bit more as we start analyzing the reading strategies. His very last line, never to hope again. Wow. Powerful, powerful line. Shakespeare is telling us this has ripped the man's soul out. And we have to think to ourselves as readers, it starts, he's talking about why he's getting down and he's feeling a decline, and then it ends with a powerful statement. He's making an equation. Losing this position is equivalent to death. Powerful, powerful line. Let's take a look at some of our reading strategies that we can do here. Let's see, our first thing we want to think about is while we're reading. While we're reading, I want to think to myself, what are the 5 W's? Who is this about? What is it about? Why is this happening to this person? It's told us from the beginning that this is Cardinal Wolsey, and he's having these issues here. So we want to make sure that we're thinking about that and making sure to underline. Also, we want to focus on tone, and we want to think to ourselves, what is some of the language that Shakespeare's using here? Often I tell the students that I'm working with, when you're reading a piece such as this, and when you're getting ready to do your writing, you're thinking like a lawyer. Students say to me, Mr. Perkins, how can I think like a lawyer? And what I tell them is, you are a word detective. You are searching for vocabulary that sets the tone. Let's take a look at a couple examples here. Farewell to all my greatness in line 2, positive. He was great, but now he's saying farewell to it. So that's something that we have to think that's very much a negative for us. Another example here is in line 13. He says, my high-blown pride at length broke under and has now left me. So he had pride, he had a good example of things happening positive for him, but now he's at the point where something negative has happened.